Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching Z News Live, and welcome to this English news edition. Coming up next. On the eve of 2016 BAC exams, Minister of National Education comforts and advises BAC candidates through a video posted on her official Facebook page. Plus, AADL1 housing program subscribers may finally rejoice after 15 years of waiting. And later on in our news program, Barack Obama became the first incumbent US president to visit Hiroshima, site of the world's first atomic bombing. Hello there again, and thanks for joining us. First, in our top stories, Minister of State, Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Fatin Her Mama met in Oslo with his Mongolian counterpart, Georges Chikoti. The talks focused on bilateral relations related to the African continent. Both officials who partake in the MFS meeting of 15 African countries and 5 Nordic countries, whose works kicked off Thursday evening in Oslo, broached the situation in occupied Western Sahara. They also discussed the upcoming election of the President of the African Union Commission. On the other hand, today, Friday, the African and Nordic ministers will meet with Norwegian business leaders to discuss the opportunities of investment and partnership and create a framework for dialogue and exchange on issues relating to peace, security, and migration. On the eve of 2016 BAC exams, Minister of National Education was keen on addressing candidates through a video posted on her official Facebook page, comforting and advising them. The minister took the opportunity to denounce the cheating scenario witnessed last year, urging authorities concerned to tackle the issue. Hence Minaras.
Minister of National Education Nouri Ben Abrit posted a video message on her Facebook page to encourage and advise baccalaureate candidates who are set to sit for exams on Sunday, May 29th. On the eve of this crucial exam, I wanted to send you a message for general mobilization, particularly the educational community that totally refuses to undermine the credibility of the exam. Ben Abrit urged everyone concerned, notably candidates, parents, and educational bodies, to tackle any law-breaking in the exam, during the exam, and denounce all acts of fraud, as well as take a position vis-à-vis of isolated attempts that may affect the smooth running of exams. We have taken all measures to preserve the security and credibility of national examinations. We expect a similar response from you about any law-breaking. We expect you to report any act of fraud and that you take a stand against any isolated attempt that aims to affect the proper conduct of exams. Minister of Education concluded by addressing the cheating phenomenon via social networks. This new scourge that was witnessed during last year's national exams, therefore, put an end to this impunity.
In other national news, AADL1 housing program subscribers may finally rejoice after 15 years of waiting, as Minister of Housing, Town Planning and the City Abdelmajid Tebboune stressed that keys delivery operation will kick off starting from Monday and won't end until all subscribers have had their keys delivered, putting an end to a long-lasting file by the end of 2016. Hence Minaras again.
And at last, only 3 days separate AADL1 program subscribers from reality. 3 days and 15 years of waiting will come to an end. After the completion of urban rehabilitation in the majority of sites, Housing Ministry has nothing left but to deliver apartment keys for their rightful owners.
The keys delivery procedure officially kicks off on Monday at 10 a.m. and won't end until all AADL1 and 2 subscribers receive their keys. The procedure is expected to end before 2016, and if everything went according to plans, even some of the 2013 AADL subscribers could get their share of housing operation.
After apartment ownership has long been but a dream for subscribers, they can this time have certified rental contracts, the newest procedure introduced by authorities concerned to comfort the latter.
Well, we deliver apartment along with the final allocation and the contract. And this is the first we introduced at ANEBA, and we will intend to carry on with it in the future. No house will be given without a contract.
So it's the start of the end of what looked like a nightmare that lasted a quarter of a century. The kickoff of a housing operation will benefit 11 families and will carry on gradually, pending the total completion of the operation by the end of 2016.
The approach of the holy month of Ramadan, many Algerian families head to markets and buy foodstuffs in an excessive way. Thus, this year, the Ministry of Trade, and with the help of many associations, is launching a major awareness campaign against squandering and the wasting of Algerians' money through bad buying habits. Karim Fazdakri.
Algerians have an appointment at the beginning of the 1st of June and for 40 days with a sensitization campaign launched by the Ministry of Trade and various associations. The awareness campaigns aims against the dangers of wasting in the holy month of Ramadan. Meanwhile, Algerians are getting ready to blow all their annual savings. It's their eyes that buy, not their needs. We see outside in the streets how much waste comes from their excessive buying habits, especially foodstuffs. This is unacceptable in religion. Squandering is a sin. I believe that no campaign can raise awareness enough with the Algerian people. We shouldn't accuse those who speak about the right thing. This is a good initiative. Even religion asks us to keep away from squandering deeds. It's the art of savoir-vivre. The campaign will be launched from regular markets and public areas by price supervisors. Big signs will be lifted at the entrance of big markets and souks. The signs have slogan against wasting, which will lead to the increase of prices due to high demands on foodstuffs. It's logical according to the study of the Algerian. I personally have 35 years of work and I earn about 52,000 dinars. I spend according to my budget, especially everything is so expensive. The Algerian spends what they have. This is none of their business. They can't interfere in others' lives. The Trade Ministry has high hopes in the positive response of Algerian consumers. The Algerian consumer should keep away from the wrong buying habits, such as buying foodstuffs and store at home. This could lead him to wasting a lot of products which are either of a bad quality or expires due to bad storing.
And now it's time for me to be joined by Mustafa Azoug, who has prepared for us the most important national and international highlights of this week. Let's follow.
Hello dear viewers, welcome to your weekly segment World in a Week, where we take you through to this week's top trending stories. We start with the educational sector, which indeed witnessed an eventful week where more than 1 million pupils sat for the primary and the middle school final exams respectively. According to the Minister of the sector, Nouria Ben Ghabrit, everything went according to plans. She even went on to describe them as an unprecedented achievement. It is worth recalling that in accordance with the Minister of National Education's firm instructions, pupils were forbidden from keeping their phones and electronic devices inside the classrooms. On top of that, numerous exam centers were equipped with jammers to curb cheating attempts. Moving on to another story now. The second Algerian-British Investment Forum kick-started on Sunday, May the 22nd in Algiers, with the participation of around 200 British businessmen, as well as a sizable Algerian ministerial presence, with a noticeable absence of Prime Minister Abdelmalek Sellal. The forum's highlights were the announcement of the establishment of an Algerian-British Chamber of Commerce. The creation of an Algerian-British University was also announced, allowing for more British support to the Algerian educational system and reinforcing English as an instructional language. The third major point was the implementation of the double taxation agreement, which will take place in January 2017. Moving on to another story now. Prime Minister Abdelmalek Sellal announced Monday in Algiers that the government has entrusted the Minister of Communication, Mr. Hamid Green, to regulate as soon as possible the broadcasting sector in Algeria, pending the establishment of the Broadcasting Regulatory Authority. Mr. Sellal did not miss the opportunity while attending the International Forum on the infringement of intellectual property to specify a number of restrictions for the private channels. Though, despite all the warnings and threats addressed to the said channels, the Premier has stressed the government's commitment to support freedom of speech. Moving on to another matter now. According to a special weather bulletin, a heat wave hit several parts of the country, including the Northern Territories. The latter resulted in a sharp increase in temperatures, which exceeded 30 degrees Celsius in many parts of the country. Specialists and experts asserted that people, notably children and elders, are advised to stay in the shade whenever possible and avoid being exposed to UV rays. Experts added that drinking water is a key factor to cope with this unseasonal heat wave. Moving on to our international news. U.S. President Barack Obama has announced that the U.S. is fully lifting its embargo on sales of lethal weapons to Vietnam, its one-time enemy. Speaking during a visit to communist Vietnam and talks with its leaders, Mr. Obama said the move removed a lingering vestige of the Cold War. The U.S. is trying to bolster its relationship with its Pacific allies as China asserts territorial claims. But Mr. Obama said the embargo decision was not related to U.S. policy on China. Vietnam is one of several countries in the region involved in maritime disputes with China. The U.S. insists on the right to freedom of navigation in the South China Sea. Back in 2014, a row over Chinese oil rig near the Paracel Islands led to clashes between Chinese and Vietnamese vessels and anti-China riots in Vietnam. Moving on to another matter. Industrial action over labor law reforms is gripping France nationwide, with oil refineries, nuclear power plants and transport hubs affected. Motorways and bridges were blocked and flights delayed, while clashes erupted with police in several cities. French Prime Minister Emmanuel Valls insists the reforms will not be withdrawn, but has suggested they could be modified. The action, building over 3 months, comes just 2 weeks before France hosts the Euro 2016 Football Championships. It's worth recalling a state of emergency imposed after November's deadly attacks by terrorists from the so-called Islamic State group in Paris remains in place. That's it for this week's top trending stories. Back to you, Nadia.
Thanks, Mustafa. And moving on to other world developments, Barack Obama today, Friday, became the first incumbent U.S. president to visit Hiroshima, site of the world's first atomic bombing. In a gesture, Tokyo and Washington hope will showcase their alliance and bolster efforts to rid the world of nuclear arms. The two governments hope Obama's visit to Hiroshima, where a U.S. atomic bomb killed thousands instantly on August 6, 1945, and some 140,000 by the year's end, underscores a new level of reconciliation and tighter ties between the former enemies.
Someday, the voices of the Hibakusha will no longer be with us to bear witness. But the memory of the morning of August 6, 1945 must never fade. That memory allows us to fight complacency. It fuels our moral imagination. It allows us to change.
In world sports news, Manchester United announced today, Friday, that former Chelsea boss Jose Mourinho has become their new manager. Mourinho, who has long been linked to a move to Old Trafford, succeeds Dutch coach Louis van Gaal, who parted ways with the club on Monday after he failed to secure a place in next season's Champions League.
Well, I think comes in the right moment of my career, because Man United is one of these clubs where you need really to be prepared for it, because it's what I used to call a giant club, and giant clubs must be for the best managers, and I think I'm ready for it. So I could say I'm happy, I'm proud, I'm honored, I'm everything, but the reality is that what I love is to work, and I cannot wait for 7th of July to go on the pitch. I think we can look at at our club now in two perspectives. One perspective is the past 3 years, and another perspective is the club history. I think I prefer to forget the past 3 years. I prefer to focus on the giant club I have in my hands now. And I think what the fans are expecting me to say is that I want to win. I think what the players they need to listen is I want to win.
Always with World Sports News, Olympic chiefs have announced that 23 competitors at the London 2012 Games have failed respective doping tests. Those athletes are from 5 different sports and 6 different countries. The International Olympic Committee retested 454 selected doping samples from the 2008 Games in Beijing and a further 265 from London 2012. And finally, Fatin Her Mama, one of Egypt's best-known actresses, was featured in a Google Doodle today, Friday, the date that would have marked her 85th birthday. Her Mama was dubbed the Lady of the Arabic Screen for her prominent roles in Egyptian cinema in the 1950s, 1960s and 1970s. She died in 2015 at the age of 83. Karim Fazdakri.
حياتها مع الوهم والأشباه وما عادت تفكر إلا في هنادي والمهندس اللي غواها وقلب لها الموت. ملك فؤادها إزاي وإزاي قدر يغويها؟ دي الأفكار اللي كانت بتعذبني.
Born on May 27, 1931 and died on January 15, 2015, the Egyptian actress and the Arab cinema icon nicknamed the Great Beautiful Lady of the Arabic Screen would have been 85 years old this year. It's her, no other than the magnificent Fatin Her Mama, who was honored today by the Google Doodle search engine company. The only daughter of her parents among 3 boys, Fatin Her Mama was introduced into the film world with her family, who already saw in her a great talent.
C'est une enfant martyre alors.
Je me rappelle bien que c'était un concours des enfants et ma mère
As young as 7 years old, she fully committed herself to become a great actress who could hold the hearts of thousands of fans. She had many blockbuster films: Lahn al-Khulud, Dua al-Karawan, Diyanam al-Haram, Laylat al-Kabd al-Fatima, and yet many others. On her account, more than 100 films on a career of over 65 years. As Fatin Her Mama well said in this exclusive interview with the French television in 1964, the actor must change. And that's precisely toward what Fatin Her Mama headed. She starred in the small screen with several series that marked the lives of several generations: Wajh al-Qamar, Damir, Abla Hikmat, and many others. Fatin Her Mama remained always this class, elegant and sweet woman.
Je dis, il faut bien qu'un acteur change.
Arab cinema icon and former wife of famous actor Omar Sharif, Fatin Her Mama remains always this lady known for her struggles for freedom and especially her feminist commitment that marked her career. May she rest in peace.
شاف أحسن 3/4 الكارثة بتاعتنا إن إحنا بقينا كتير أوي.
Indeed, Karim, may she rest in peace. And before we wrap up, let's have a reminder of our main top stories. On the eve of 2016 BAC exams, Minister of National Education comforts and advises BAC candidates through a video posted on her official Facebook page. AADL1 housing program subscribers may finally rejoice after 15 years of waiting. And Barack Obama became the first incumbent U.S. president to visit Hiroshima, site of the world's first atomic bombing. That's all for me, Nadia Kasmi, and the rest of the team. For more news, visit our website and other social media networks. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.